It's a good looking banner.
Well, today it's a very beautiful day. We're actually having a protest again, the second one, the rally against Mike Wasylyshen in his recent promotion, the police officer of the Edmonton City Police. We as Idle No More, Occupy, Anonymous Edmonton have come together, and we would like to see that that position, that promotion either revoked or, better yet, Mike Wasylyshen fired from the Edmonton City Police, so that it demonstrates to the public that we can have a confidence in their decision in regards to who is
Why are you so passionate about this particular issue?
I'm really passionate about this issue because he's picked on the vulnerable people. He's a violent offender. He's been charged and convicted. It's only been 2 years that he was sentenced, and he got 120 hours for assaulting a disabled person on White Avenue who was on crutches. And prior to that, he had assaulted with a taser, and that's a weapon, with a taser, and tasered a young Aboriginal youth who was 17, passed out in the backseat of a car, tasered him 8 times in 68 seconds. And that is, to me, a violent offender. And really, he's a police officer with power, and he really shouldn't be in that position.
What do you hope to see as the outcome of this rally today?
Well, more awareness, more support, and more people writing letters opposing the promotion and insisting that he be fired to increase the public confidence.
Police brutality!
No to police brutality!
No to police brutality!
No to Mike Wasylyshen!
No to Mike Wasylyshen!
No to Mike Wasylyshen!
No to Mike Wasylyshen!
Fire Mike!
Fire Mike!
Fire Mike!
Fire Mike!
Fire Mike!
Fire Mike!
No to police brutality!
No to police brutality!
No to police brutality!
No to police brutality!
You know, making sure that this city is safe for us to walk in, and we're protected by the police, not attacked by the police. And someone like Mike Wasylyshen to be promoted as to sergeant, not within 2 years after being convicted and for assaulting someone who was disabled, is unacceptable. And so I thank you all for coming here today. We are Idle No More. Some of us are Idle No More, and some of us are representatives of Edmonton Anonymous, as well as Occupy Edmonton. The season, unfortunately, is making it so that, people have other things to take care of, understandably so. But know that across the nation, people are paying attention to what's going on here. Although our numbers are small here, when you go on Facebook, when you go on social media, you'll realize there's thousands and thousands of people who will oppose this promotion and who understand that, that's grassroots. The police officers are on the streets at the grassroots level. They're the first contact with the public. So we need to be able to trust that they will not hurt us when we call them. We need to be able to trust that they won't do racial profiling, especially with non-Indigenous people and vulnerable people. They won't attack vulnerable people because they're weaker. And Mike Wasylyshen has demonstrated he's a violent offender. As an elder, I understand people go through a healing process. I understand that people can heal and change from these things and come back to a good place. But I also understand I would not put a pedophile back into a daycare just because he's gone through treatment. So why is a police officer being promoted and put into a police force? Thank you. There's only a few. When he has demonstrated violent behavior. Edmonton City Police recently put in a policy: no recruits will be hired if they have a criminal record. Well, I'll tell you something. That probably makes it really difficult for a lot of Aboriginal people to apply, because a lot of Aboriginal people get arrested. And I'm starting to suspect, with this recent incident and being part of these circles going on in these talks, and I'm starting to think, is this because of racial profiling that our jails are filling up with Aboriginal people? Is it because people like Mike Wasylyshen are in those positions, walking the streets, going out and targeting that population, or targeting people that he just doesn't like because they look weaker? What do you think?
Yeah.
Shame?
Shame.
What?
Shame!
Louder?
Shame!
Louder!
Shame!
Absolutely, right? And it's not acceptable in this land for anyone to assault a vulnerable person. People who have addictions, People who have trouble or are homeless, people who are disabled, need our compassion. They're not well. It's not that they need us to attack them and kick them down even further. They need a helping hand up. And this city used to be a beautiful, compassionate city. It is slowly being eroded. And it's becoming this unsafe, disgustingly violent city, not violent by the people in the streets, but violent by the professionals that we're trusting to take care of us. I mean, I don't know anybody who would call the police right now and feel safe that the response would be safe.
Not me.
Would any of you call police? Would you call police and feel safe they're going to come and take care and make sure you're safe? I don't think so. So more people are going to start doing this other stuff when these people are in a professional capacity being paid to make our streets safe. Idle.
No more.
Idle.
No more.
No to police. No to police brutality.
No to police brutality.
No to police brutality.
No to police brutality.
No to Mike Wasylyshen.
No to Mike Wasylyshen.
I stand here in solidarity with Idle No More and Occupy Edmonton, but I'm not here because of my affiliation with any of those organizations. Rather, I'm here to express my deep concern, disappointment, and anger as a representative of our entire community. To start, I would like to read an excerpt from a book that was written by a friend of mine on the topic of the assault of Randy Frying Pan at the hands of Mike Wasylyshen. This is dated December 2003. Marilyn Frying Pan wants justice for her 17-year-old son, Randy, but so far justice has been hard to find. On October 5th, 2002, according to several witnesses, Randy was brutally assaulted by an on-duty Edmonton Police Service officer while several other EPS officers looked on. This is how it happened. Randy and 3 other teenagers, 2 boys and a girl, were sitting with permission in a car parked outside a small townhouse in Abbotsfield. It was approximately 3 in the morning. When a neighbor phoned the EPS to complain about the noise, EPS officers arrived. 3 of the teens were removed from the car, apparently without incident. But in the process of removing Randy, who was passed out in the car, the first arriving officer, Mike Wasylyshen, tasered the boy repeatedly on his back, his abdomen, his neck, and his groin. By his mother's count, there were 21 taser burns on Randy's body. He was struck in the face with the blunt end of a taser gun, breaking his front tooth and filling his mouth with blood. Throughout the assault, Randy was screaming for help for his mother. The owner of the car was awake, watching TV at the time. She describes Randy's screams as so blood-curdling she thought someone was being murdered. Randy's body was covered with taser burns. He had a gash on the back of his head. His front tooth was broken. His face was bruised and swollen. He was unable to move without pain, and he was unable to sleep without fear. Today, 14 months later, Randy's body still bears the scars of the taser. He suffers chronic pain in his back, and he still has difficulty sleeping. Memories of the incident come back to him in flashes. 3 or 4 nights a week, according to his mother, he wakes with nightmares. The officers involved are still on active duty with the EPS. So what does it feel like to be tasered? According to the words of Sergeant Mike Wasylyshen himself, it feels like getting hit with some baseball bats from all directions, or like having a horse inside you trying to kick its way out. Randy Frying Pan, a teenaged, unconscious boy, was tasered by Mike Wasylyshen 8 times in 68 seconds. Wasylyshen was delivered a slap on the wrist several years later. I believe in reconciliation, and I believe in second chances, and I believe that none of us are perfect. We all make poor decisions and deserve an opportunity to learn from our mistakes. So what has Mike Wasylyshen done to reconcile? What did he do with his second chance? 3 years later, while off duty and heavily intoxicated, Wasylyshen launched an unprovoked attack on a gentleman who was on crutches after having recently undergone knee surgery. After calling the man a cripple, Wasylyshen crossed the street and punched the gentleman. Wasylyshen's friends tried to pull him away, but he broke away and continued punching the other man. When 2 security guards intervened, Wasylyshen punched one and threatened the other, saying he would find them and would, quote, burn down their houses with their families inside. Wasylyshen was found guilty of assault and handed another slap on the wrist. And now he is being promoted to the upper ranks of the police force and put in a position of leadership and influence, presumably because he will be a role model for other officers. It is true that these events occurred almost 10 years ago, and I believe that people can change. But for EPS, I have 3 questions. 1, why would you put a person in a position of leadership and influence when they have proven to have no integrity, no discretion, no restraint, and no remorse for the crimes that they have committed? Why would you put a person in a position of leadership and influence when they have a criminal record and a history of violence among some of the most vulnerable people in our society? And last, why would you put this person in a position of leadership and influence when there are many other good cops out there that can actually manage and respect their positions of authority?
Okay.
This is not a complicated issue, and I feel the answers to all these questions are the same. The answer is because Mike is the son of a former police chief, and that is called corruption. In the wake of the incidents that occurred in Ferguson, Missouri, New York, and many others, trust towards the police has suffered greatly, and decisions like the one to promote Mike Wasylyshen only further erode that trust. We are here today to stand together and say that we care about our communities. We stand next to the good cops, who themselves believe in a stricter discipline and have expressed disappointment that the bad cops who break the rules repeatedly are rarely dealt with appropriately. So, although the EPS has made the decision to grant even more authority to one of its worst officers, a decision to grant even more authority for Mike Wasylyshen to watch over our city, we are here to say, no, Mike, we're watching you. Thank you.
Take a hike, Mike! Take a hike, Mike! Take a hike, Mike! Take a hike, Mike! Take a hike!